for a second. Good evening, scholars. So over the last 4 weeks, like all the other first years, I've been getting to know the city and the school that we are studying, or that we call now our university. We just heard a whole bunch of speeches, and I think that we can all agree that the passion and enthusiasm on this campus is super contagious and super inspiring. I'm running for first year rep because I've been inspired by the KSU execs and all of the amazing work that they've been doing and that they do here at King's. So if I'm elected as your first year rep, my focus will be in uniting the first year community here at King's and making sure that our voice is heard. We've heard a lot just now and over the last few weeks about how there's a sense of disunity among our year, and that really affects our collective experience as a whole. Yes, no matter what you're studying, whether you're a journalism student or an art student or a science student or you're taking fifth, we're all still first year students here at King's, and we all share a campus and a new life as first year university students. So I hope to eliminate the sense of disunity by working really closely with other representatives on campus, with counselors and the KSU, and through effective communication and year-wide accessible inclusive events, so that we're all we're all making a sense of community and fostering a sense of community where we all feel like we belong and we participate. Some of these events could be movie nights in Alumni Hall, snowball fights out in the quad, or themed dinners where we all dress up as a favorite character. Meeting with reps is obviously a huge priority. We've been hearing about communication problems here on campus, and like I said, that's a really big problem. So working together to create these events where we all come together and we all feel like we belong in this wonderful school is a really big priority. My last point is communication, and I think that this comes in 3 parts. Obviously, my job is keeping you informed on what's going on campus, whether it's hikes and tuition fees, woo, not good, or who's playing in the Wardy on Monday nights. Communication between reps and KSU execs and admin in general is super important. Obviously, we have to make sure that we're all working on the same page if we want to move forward together. And finally, communication between us. If I'm going to represent you properly, I need to know what you think. And I want to know how we can work together to make things happen here on our campus at our university. Yeah, thanks. I'm super excited to start working together. Thanks.
I'm Kavanaugh, and I'm running for first year rep. Yay. And before I start talking about my platform and whatnot, I like to see a show of hands of who here is actually in first year. Okay, so we have like a pretty decent turnout of first years, but I'd like to think it's not enough. For me, I posted my platform on Facebook for any of the first years who read it, but I just want to reiterate like what I think the most important thing for the first year rep to do is, and I think that is making sure everybody knows not only what the KSU does, but who is on the KSU, the roles that everybody fills, just to like be informed, because we are all members of the KSU, and that's not something that I take lightly. We chose to be at this school and we have the ability to make a difference, therefore we should make a difference. That being said, one of my first ideas that I had was to post kind of booklets in each residence, and probably from the dining hall for day students who don't live in residence. Just like a list of each candidate, or not each candidate, each like position and everybody who fills that position, so that everybody knows. Because I'm going to do this again. Can I get another show of hands? Who here's actually in first year has been on the KSU website and gone and looked at positions? Exactly. Like, it's, people don't really go out of their way to do things, so having that information there, I would like to think that that will give somebody at least the drive to be like, oh, I'd like to see what this position does. Oh, that person's running? Like, you know, just that kind of idea. Another thing, because I have such an importance of knowing, I think first year rep should be able to answer any question that a first year student has about the KSU. Probably more than any other position, because it's the first years who just kind of came to the school, found out they might be on some union but don't know what that means. So having somebody that they can come up to and be like, insert any possible question, I want to have the answer. So I would go out of my way to learn every little detail just so that I can answer your questions. And then lastly, I think because we are all first years and we're all in FIP, that means I know we can all create thoughts and so maybe posting again in residence, probably beside booklets and whatnot, kind of like a slip or like an envelope where people can put, maybe anonymous if you want to write your name, doesn't matter, just kind of suggestions that I will personally go through and I will read each one, because it is so important that we all have a voice, and I don't want somebody's fear of having their ideas shut down to stop them from actually giving their ideas. And this is my last point. There's a serious problem with people doing the FIP and flip, and if you are in FIP or did flip, you know that's a real thing. People come, they do FIP, and they're like, that was fun, I'm gonna go to Dow. Like, it happens. So maybe working along with maybe arts rep or really anyone, I don't know who would actually be that beneficial yet, working with them to kind of, at least if students are going to do that, let them know what that entails and how to do that well. Know what they're getting themselves into past first year, because you're only in first year for 1 year. Like, the rest of your university experience is kind of dictated on your decisions that you make, whether you're going to stay at King's or if you're going to go to Dow. So that's just, I think, a very big, important point. And thank you.
I'm used to having a script in front of me. I apologize for any sudden corrections or add-ons or pauses. Okay, launching in. My fellow students, my name is John Osborne, and I am running for the position of your first year representative. The reason why I'm running is to help improve the quality of life for first year King students and to improve the quality of the student council itself so that it is better able to serve the students that we are dedicated to. So what makes me a viable choice for representative for the first years and the capable administrator? I have, of course, completed high school, and in high school, yeah, let's just move from base up here. And in high school, I was on the student council and helped in a position similar to the one I'm running for now. My job title at that time was representative for the student body at large. I learned a lot about administration within the school council there, and I feel that knowledge would be transferable to this position. I also have experience from my time volunteering at my local hospital and how to make difficult decisions and talk through tricky problems. I feel that this experience in looking at complex issues and trying to find solutions that make everyone happy would be useful for my position. Finally, my experiences in discipline and organization that I obtained in my many years as head of the Acolyte Guild at my local church back home would be useful in treating the position with the seriousness that it deserves. Also, just to throw it out there, I also worked in a bookstore, and as a camp counselor, I don't really think it's applicable, but I'll just put that all out on the table. But this is just stuff about me. And the job I'm running for is about you people, those who are listening to the speech and are also first years, mostly, are the people that I'm running for. I have already heard some of the complaints that have been leveled by first years and some of the ways that things can be improved. I've heard a lot more now that I've sat through all of the other speeches. Good job on covering all of that. Good stuff, good stuff. Some of them are more obvious, like the problems with day students sort of feeling like outcasts. A problem that becomes more pressing with a statement made this morning in the FIP lecture that we will all one day be day students. And there's less obvious problems, like what I was told about the lack of airflow in the King's gym, making it really uncomfortable to work out there. Apparently it gets either really hot or really cold. Worth looking into. I mean, these are just a few of the issues. I mean, there's literally a what are they called? The places in which we live. A bay that is literally condemned and collapsing at this point due to not really being maintained as it should have been. You know, there's a lot that needs to be looked into, and as I said, has already been covered. And I feel that I really take an interest in researching these things and finding out so that I can help King's students now and in the future. I don't really, you know, my speech is not really the longest or maybe the best rehearsed, and I definitely don't have the best posters. I think those are probably JS's. Actually, not third-party campaigning. All the posters were fantastic. I loved all of them. You guys are all equal. I don't single any of them out. But, and you know, this is a very serious position. All of these positions are. I mean, we sort of can sometimes make light about it. Student council wasn't really a big deal back in high school, but here it really is. And so I hope that all of you, when you vote in this upcoming election, will vote for the person who you seriously think is the most experienced and the most able to do it, be it me or someone else, and not treat it as a popularity contest. Thank you.
I love Harry Potter, and I actually brought all 8 DVDs with me to King's, so if you ever want a movie marathon, I got you. Secondly, unlike a lot of people here, I'm not from Toronto. I'm actually from the other side of Canada in Vancouver. And then thirdly, apart from living in Vancouver, I've also lived in many different other countries. This third fun fact trickles into kind of why I want to be your first year rep. First year rep's job is to make sure that everyone's settled in and just like having a good time and is really comfortable. But first year is hard, and it's full of new environments and new people, and I know that's hard to adjust to. So it doesn't matter to me whether you're from a different country or if you live right around the corner. I want King's to feel like your new home. Talking about our new home, there are some renovations that need to be made. Firstly, the subject matter on everyone's mind, tuition. I don't want tuition to rise. You don't want tuition to rise. If I was on the KSU, I'd be working my butt off with everyone else on the council to make sure that that doesn't happen. This is not just only for us, but also for the future generations of Fipsters to come, so many more people can experience this amazing community we have. Next, King's Athletics. What? King's has sports teams? That's a thing. I've noticed that King's is really lacking in their Blue Devil pride. And I think that's a shame because I know some awesome people in the sports teams, and I'm sure you do too. And I want to support them. And that's pretty easy. All we need is some posters around the campus or an announcement before a lecture saying when at-home games are. It's my goal to see if we can get as many people at an at-home game as we get watching classes in the quad. Finally, what I've noticed while being here these 4 weeks is that the KSU tries really hard to connect with the student body. If I was your first year rep, I'd be working twice as hard to make sure that your voice is heard. I know as a first year students, even though some of us are living on campus and some of us aren't, that we're in the epicenter of the action. We know what's up, we know what we want changed. And I will I'll hear all your questions, all your comments, all your concerns, and I'll bring them up in meetings, make sure they're all talked about and suggested, because I want to bring a change for the better to this school. And I think that even though we're first years, that doesn't mean that we're of any less value than any other students at King's. In return, I'm thinking of maybe doing something like a monthly newsletter. This can go around campus, or maybe it could go like the first TWAC of the month, and there would just be lists of events that are happening in King's or in Halifax, so you can stay connected to the community that you live in. This could also be a way for me to check up on you, make sure no one's dying, and for you to be able to post questions and comments and concerns that I can go further with. I love Kings a lot. I think it's an amazing community, and it's one of the most welcoming communities that I've ever been and experienced. And I want you to love Kings as much as I do, and hopefully together we can make this like the best first year ever.
But I'm just gonna start by telling you guys that like central to my campaign or my platform here is that I really love this school. It was like the only school I applied to just because the program to me and the idea of the first year community is so amazing. I love that we are a very unique community. I love that we are a very close-knit community. And I love that we're a very accepting community. And this whole idea of like the FIP first year, whether or not you're a FIP, like the first year Kings community, that's what matters most to me. And my job as first year representative would be to make that community as tight-knit and as well connected with what's happening on campus as possible. So basically my job is going to be the best listener and the best communicator that I can be, whether that be through really fun posters like I apparently made for this platform, or through emails, or through a blog. I really like blogging. I would really like to set up a first year blog where I could let you guys know what's happening and you guys can give me feedback and let me know what you want to hear. Or even if that's through conversations over some lovely Sodexo delights, or even if it's like random suggestions on Yik Yak. I want to know what you guys have placed as your priorities. I want my priority to be making your priorities the council's priorities. So as your first year rep, I would love to set up a blog for you guys. Most of all though, I would just love to be in communication with you guys at all times about what it is that you want to see put up and represented in council. I don't know exactly what that is quite yet because I've been here for 4 weeks, but obviously there's the major issues such as tuition and working with the council to make sure that our tuition doesn't go up another $1,000. That's going to be very rough on the Kings community, as we all know. This has been an exhausted point, but I believe that the first years are the lifeblood of this school. I believe that they're what keep it going, and I really want to make sure that your voice gets heard. I'm a very outspoken person. I've been involved in tons of leadership positions in the past. I'm not afraid of making my voice heard, and as a result, I'm not afraid of making your voice heard. So I do want to be able to represent you guys as best as possible. I do want to be in constant communication with you guys, and I believe that you can trust me to make what your priorities are my priorities and to get that heard in student council. So yeah, just a quick recap. My priority is you guys. I love this school, I love the people in it, and I absolutely love first year culture. I want to have fun events. I believe that that's a really important part of being the first year rep. I want to do fun things. Let's have Good Morning Scholars t-shirts. Let's have lip sync battles on Wardy nights. Like I want to make sure that this year is a fun year for everyone and it's an accepting year for everyone, and that we can get some real change done. So yeah, that's what I've got to say. I'll see you all at the polls. And yeah, thank you.
Question.
Oh, so many questions now. Okay, back.
What's the best thing about Kings?
Okay, we're gonna start at the end with you, Katrina.
Marie.
Marie. Marie.
I think I'm gonna answer with the passion and enthusiasm. It's so evident. And like I said, it's like super contagious. I'm like just really excited talking about it. Yeah.
I love the close-knit community and how you get to know one another throughout the year, and that everyone just has very similar interests in this whole like FIP thing that we're doing. It's very cool and very unique, which is Kings.
I was literally about to say I love how unique we are. I love that we are a very individual community in a lot of ways, and we kind of have our own like way of thinking and our way of doing things, and I think it's really cool. I actually just like really love this school.
The cheapest beer in Halifax. No, it's the community. It's unique.
Okay, I'm gonna have to say the community, but also I know I'll spice it up a bit. From a first year perspective, I know it's very easy to get lost in just thinking of Kings as first years, but to be able to walk into the wardroom and see a bunch of second, third, fourth years, like say playing pool, and you walk in, you say, who has next game? And they're like, you do. that to me is incredible. At most schools, like you wouldn't really have that. The idea that we have study snacks, just kind of the closeness of all of the years, I think to me is the most important thing that I like the most about things.
Sophia.
Thanks for the speeches. One of the duties is first year is to sit on the academic committee. So could you maybe talk to like what concerns that you would bring from the first years to the committee?
Clarification question for people who don't know the academic committee.
yes.
Sophia, give us a brief description.
The academic committee is chaired by your student-elect vice president, who's gone. Oh, she can't
Do you want me to talk about it?
I could, but you go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brief description.
Okay,
Hello.
yeah, very brief. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm the Student Life Vice President. Academic Committee meets about 4 to 6 times a year, and what we do is super important. So we monitor any changes that happen with anything to do with academics. So if you sit on it, you'll be able to like kind of see what the faculty's doing. You'll be able to approve or like have some say in what the syllabus is. I don't know what the plural is, what those are, and you'll be able to kind of see like what the trajectory of the school is in the next couple years. It's a really, really great committee.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Okay, I realize this is kind of a hard question, so you don't have to answer this.
We're gonna start with Jess.
Okay, that is a really difficult question. It's all good. No, it's really good. I think that for me, like so far in the 4 weeks I've been here, I haven't had any like major concerns with anything that's going on curriculum-wise or anything like that. But I think for me, like what's central to my platform is to be listening to what other people have to say. So I think that with regards to the academic committee, it would just be asking around and making sure that I know what everyone else's concerns are, and then bringing those to the table and making sure that I'm working with the people that need to be worked with in order to make changes happen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would. That's a really difficult question. I would definitely. I would act as first year representative. I would find out what the first years feel would be necessary to, be said on the committee, and I would make sure it got said. Very said. Okay, I'm gonna pass over to you, Ryan.
It's been said before, that is it's difficult. I guess really I don't understand yet whoever gets elected for first year rep, what their role would really be on the academic committee. Like, do you
I don't even know that either.
Awesome.
or
Like,
do you have like
like when I
say
sat on the
on-
committee, we basically were like, hey, all white people in FIP, we don't like it.
Yeah, I guess before I can really answer that, I'd need to learn a lot more about the committee itself and what the first year representative can actually do on it.
I'm so sorry for this question.
No, it's a
really
good,
good. It's
it's a
really
good
good.
question. If I had had it
I didn't
before
even
and could
know.
prepare a little
Yeah.
bit.
I know it. Never again.
Marie, do you want to speak to it or do you want to pass?
Yeah, no. I think I'm going to preface this with what has been said in terms of not being clear on what the particular role is, especially given that we're still like going through the material ourselves as first year students. But like making sure that some of the more hidden authors and philosophers and historians are like pulled in, and that obviously we are grappling with like some pretty mind-boggling ideas, but like making sure that some of the ones that are not quite as voiced, are not quite known, are pulled into it. I know that I think ethics was pulled into this year's curriculum, but it wasn't in last year's. I loved ethics, I thought that was really cool, I don't know. So stuff like that, in terms of just pulling in like new, mind-boggling, fun, creative ideas that contribute to our curriculum. Sorry, that was really rambly.
I feel like everything I have to say is just reiterating what everyone has already said, but that I would need to know what everyone else in first year thinks and like about what's going on, and then I take their questions and their problems and vocalize it in the meeting. But I agree with what you're saying and what Milena said in her speech about it'd be really cool to get some diversity in the authors of the FIT books that we're reading.
You all
Next
did really
question.
well. I'm going to go home and think about my answer.
Ian.
So there's a large proportion of residence first year students, but also there's a proportion of day student first year students. A couple of you did touch on that, but I would like to hear a bit more reiteration of what you would do to get day students more involved like kids. Because a lot of people do drive, a lot of people can't be here for Fit Mondays. So what would you guys do to be more inclusive to first year day students?
Let's start with you
Yeah,
and
sure.
go next.
Okay. Well, firstly, I think it's a little obvious as first year representative at kind of trying to get their opinions on what could be done better. But then, like, I think the most important thing would be working with the Day Student Society, because who knows day students better than the Day Student Society? So really, like, trying to work with them, see what ideas they have for first year students, seeing what first year students' opinions are of the Day Student Society, and just really integrating the two positions. Yes.
I'm going to agree with Ryan that working with the Day Student Society would be important. I also wonder about why, if there is a residency position, there's not a day student position on the elected council. I mean, there's a lot of unique concerns that go with that, and I feel like a more focused approach, because it's such a large group that you don't see as much because they're not on campus, obviously. But I just feel that more feeling of inclusion in the community would be necessary.
Right. Quick correction. There actually is a day student representative in the North Council through the DSS channels.
Sorry.
That said, this year there is a large portion of out-of-province day students who are involved in the DSS, and the actual so-called local day students are not showing up. If there are actually any local day students in the room, I highly encourage you to get involved with the lovely people of the DSS and make your voices heard.
Sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no.
It's all good.
So I think that, as I've said a few times, the biggest part of getting this community together is communication. So I think that one thing that unites us all and puts us all on the same ground is social media. So it would be a lot for me of social media outreach in terms of getting day students involved in events and involved in, I guess, the things that we do here, and having, like you were saying, a lot of people drive and can't be here for Fit Mondays. Having things in the daytime and having expeditions on the weekends and doing things at a time when it would be convenient to those two day students, and again having communication with the Day Student Society to figure out what's happening, what the best times are for day students, and again social media communication to make sure that everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, I'd say talking to the Day Student Society, finding out when, if it's a day, like a weekday would be the best to create activities, or a weekend. We could have dances, like we could have outings, as you said, like you can do anything. We just need to make sure that everybody knows about it and that it's at times that are accessible for everybody.
I don't really have anything new to contribute. I think that accessibility and communication are the two key approaches we need to use to uniting this first year community that is so integral to our experience here at King's.
Okay, we're gonna take one last question and then we're done. Sean.
What kind of fun stuff do you guys want to do for first years?
Can I tackle it first?
I'm gonna go with Marie first. We'll end on you.
Okay. That's just.
Like the enthusiasm. Go ahead.
I've been talking to some people and just brainstorming, I guess. But I was thinking like movie nights. Some of the texts that we're reading are really, really provocative. And there's really good film adaptations to them, so watching them all together. Obviously, we're not all in FIP, so this would have to be a conversation that we have together in terms of what people would be interested in watching. Snowball fights out in the quad. Someone mentioned this earlier. I think it's a thing in April. It is a thing, so we could have snowman building competitions or like leaf fights at the end of the month when there's like leaves on the ground. And like themed dinners. I mean, we all pretty much go to Hogwarts with our nice long gowns on formal meal nights. But find inclusive activities where we all feel like we're a part of this really important community.
Yeah, I think organizing activities for everyone, like movie nights or snowball fights, they're really good ideas, and like having maybe a Facebook page or any social media thing that everyone in first year can look at and see what's going on. Like maybe there's a certain night that like we can all have a really big quad party or a huge secret Santa and be part of. Feel like a community.
Yeah, I think movie nights is a great idea. I would love to see lip sync battles happen in the Wardy at some point because that's like my true calling. Like things like karaoke, things like I would like to see actually some like more intramural sports stuff, like in terms of like dodgeball or like things that are really easy to organize and like get people out to. I had a couple other ideas, but they're like disappearing now. Yeah, I guess for me it would just be a lot of communicating with the people here and kind of finding out what they want. Yeah, that's about it.
So I'm definitely with the movie nights idea. I like that. So, and I think that Ryan will probably say that too. So you can be sure movie night's definitely going to happen. I definitely like the idea of intramural sports. I really think that the gym is sort of underutilized, the King's Gym. People kind of forget we have it. I'm really interested in snow stuff. I mean, I don't know if you guys know, I'm from really far away. I haven't seen snow since I was 6. I want some snowball fights. You know, I want anything that involves interacting with this mysterious substance known as snow.
Okay, I'm gonna take this question and give it a little spin. I think it is important to have events like planned to get like first years coming together, but I also think that's something that first years can do without really making it a priority of the first year rep. I said in my speech that I think it's of great importance that we remember that this is for student union. So really like putting your time into more awareness of the union and like spending time thinking about ideas for the union rather than creating fun events, because if you're a first year, you know there's already a fun event happening tonight that wasn't made by the first year rep. That I think we can have a congregation of students to make fun ideas. Sure, if people have ideas for fun events, it's something that the first year rep can bring up, but I think the first year rep really should be focused on getting ideas heard that are to do with problems or issues and just kind of having those ideas heard. I know it's a little serious on a question for fun events.
It's chill. We're done. Thank you to all the first years.